What's up, wrestling fans? On this episode of the Atomic Drop podcast, we'll be talking WWE Raw, SmackDown, King of the Ring, and Queen of the Ring, and whatever comments pop up, we'll go ahead and we'll chat away and throw your questions out there live. I will be back in 1 minute. It's Fight Night! What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to the Atomic Drop podcast. I am Solo, not Solo Sikoa, Solo the Bat Fry, by myself tonight. So we're going to pound this bitch out and talk a little wrestling, WWE style. Like I said on the preview, we'll be talking Raw recap, SmackDown recap, King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, all that good stuff. Throw your comments out. I'll read them on air here, give you a shout out, and we'll discuss whatever your comment is, wrestling or otherwise. Doesn't really have to be wrestling if you don't want it to be. This is out of the box. We'll talk about pretty much anything. All right. All right. We got a comment here from our girl, Eileen. What's up, Eileen? What's up? All right. I hope you're doing well this fine Saturday morning. I'll tell you what, Eileen, not to get too far off wrestling here, but I did not have a good night after watching the New York Mets blow in many different ways, blow that lead against the Marlins. I went from a point where I was going to compare the Mets this year to the 2022 Phillies, and I thought I had some pretty good points. To want to put a clip video out there is just how pissed off I am, but I'm not, because I'm a positive fella, and I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to let myself cool down, and I'm going to revisit the whole comparing this year's Mets to the 2022 Phillies, and I got to simmer down a little bit. Got to simmer down. All right. Another one from Eileen says, yep, how long before Edwin Diaz goes on the IL with some injury? So I don't even think that's it, Eileen, to be 100% honest with you. I think it's they brought it up. Lindor talked to him on the field against the Phillies when he blew that lead against the Phillies the other night. And I do believe Mendoza also talked to him when he came in. They said it seems like Edwin's rushing it, and it's going to take time. It's going to take time. And I mentioned this months ago, coming off a major knee surgery, major injury like that, it's going to take time for him to find himself, to trust everything in his body, and become the old Diaz. And who knows, the old Diaz in 2022 was so good that there's a chance that he'll never even be that good again, right? So as long as he doesn't revert back to 2019 Diaz, where he's blowing everything like he is, and just getting knocked around, which like he is, then as long as he doesn't revert to that, which he has, then we'll be all right, which we're not. So our boy Adam Glenn saying, what's up? Go Phillies. Yeah. All right. So kicking off Monday Night Raw here, Drew McIntyre. Okay, our boy Drew McIntyre, coming back, actually going out to the ring instead of being booted off the show because he's injured and stuff like that. Like we seen last week, and I mentioned this last week as well with when Adam Glenn was on before he fell off the show because he got a phone call, got a booty call at 11 o'clock at night. That's the only thing I could think of anyway. Adam Glenn getting a booty call 11 o'clock. Who else is calling the man at 11 o'clock at night? I don't know. But anyway, we seen last week Drew McIntyre not cleared to wrestle because of his elbow injury, hyperextended elbow. Not cleared. He loses his spot in the King of the Ring tournament. So Pierce sends him on his way. As he's leaving, Punk pulls up right behind him. McIntyre is not even out of the parking garage. All right. And CM Punk pulls up. And Pierce like, oh, he just missed him. He's like, what? Where? I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, he had to see the man leave. I mean, now granted, maybe he doesn't know what kind of car McIntyre's driving. I am one of those people where at work they'll be like, oh, didn't you see so and so's car out in the parking lot? I'm like, I don't know what their car looks like. I'm like, oh, they drive the what's it? I'm like, I don't really pay attention to that. So CM Punk might be one of those guys that just doesn't pay attention to what other people are driving. So that may very well be it. But anyway, fast forward to this week. McIntyre comes down, cuts a promo in the ring, a really good promo, and brings up the names. CM Punk, of course, Jey Uso, and Damian Priest. So he talks about CM Punk. The one thing, the highlight for me is he said, CM Punk is probably the only person that looks like a drug addict that never actually took like a drug, which I thought was hilarious. I'm sure I got the wording wrong there, but you get the gist of it. CM Punk does look like he's like strung out or really, really tired. But he's straight edge, no alcohol, no drugs, all that good stuff. So I got a kick out of that one. I thought that was really funny. I never heard that before. But McIntyre also brought up a couple, decent points about CM Punk kind of dodging him a little bit. And I love CM Punk. I'm a huge CM Punk fan. I love Drew McIntyre. I can't wait to see this feud, this match. These guys go head to head, and I hope that it's for something. So we'll see what they can do, with that. So McIntyre brought up how, he's in the ring, Punk's up in the skybox. He goes up to the skybox, Punk's in the ring. He's leaving the parking garage. Punk's pulling into the parking garage. He said it seems like Punk is avoiding him. He said, but he's not going to let that get to him. That he's just going to wait, bide his time, because both guys can't wrestle or fight anyway, and you might as well wait. So then he brings up Jey Uso's name and points out that Jey Uso, not only being a thorn in his side as a part of the bloodline, previously, costing him the championship, all that good stuff, but also brings up that now he, not only lost championship opportunity after championship opportunity, that Jey Uso now gets his championship opportunity because he's injured, which he said he should have been cleared to wrestle. Said he's fine, but Jey Uso gets his spot and is now moving on to the King of the Ring. So that pisses Drew McIntyre off. And then he brings up Damian Priest's name about how Priest kind of, in a few words, stole Drew McIntyre's title, stole his moment, stole his spotlight, and then the music kicks, and we have our boy Damian Priest come down, which I've been impressed with Priest so far with his mic skills. I feel like he's done a really good job with the mic. I'm not a huge fan of him in the Judgment Day, the way he's leading the Judgment Day, but I think that's probably on purpose. To be 100% honest with you, I don't think that's coming off as bad acting or bad writing or whatever, bad promos. I just think I think it's on purpose the way he's been handling the Judgment Day. I think there's a turn coming, within not anytime soon. I think by the end of the year, though. By the end of the year, I think there's a turn. Either Judgment Day turns on Priest or the Priest abandons Judgment Day, something like that. But I think that's a little bit in the near future. It's not too distant future. I think it's kind of near. I think by the end of the year, maybe early next year, Royal Rumble-ish, I think we could see the Priest and Judgment Day separated. So before I continue talking about that, we got Paul Spencer checking in. What's up, Paul? Enjoying the UFC there, fella? He says, what's up, buddy? It's time for some wrestling talk. Yes, it's wrestling. Love that wrestling. So McIntyre and Priest in the ring together, and McIntyre's ripping Priest up and down. Basically he's a bridge champion. He's just a gap stop, and he stole his title using that Money in the Bank. This, that, the other, stole his moment, and Priest cuts him off, and Priest is like, I hear a lot of crying, a lot of griping, and he kind of points out the different ways that this was all actually Damian Priest's fault. He's Drew McIntyre's fault. Priest says, hey, I said I wanted to cash it in on Seth Rollins. He said, I would have loved it if I could have cashed it on Seth Rollins. He said, but you stopped me from doing that several times, which we brought that up on the show before, right? How many times I predicted it was going to go this way months ago. I said all these different times that McIntyre has prevented Priest from cashing in the Money in the Bank, whether it was stopping Dom, Dirty Dom, from bringing the briefcase to Priest when Seth Rollins was down, or just outright stopping Damian Priest or whatever, so it couldn't happen. And so yeah, I brought that up months ago. I said that it's going to come to a head at WrestleMania where Priest wins the championship, or I did it again. McIntyre wins the championship, and Priest ends up cashing on him. That's like poetic justice for Damian Priest, right? So, and it that's how it went. And so Priest brought that up, saying, dude, this is what, this, that. And then he's like, he goes, all you had to do was leave the ring. He said, all you had to do was leave the ring. He said, no, you had to get up and you had to, kiss your wife. Well, he said actually, instead of taking your wife's hand and going back to the back and and enjoying your victory, so you had to go over and taunt CM Punk, opening up that opportunity and getting your ass kicked by a one-armed man. So, I mean, a lot of great points by Damian Priest there. Kind of pointed out, said, hey, you want to blame everybody else? Look in the mirror at he said, look at the asshole in the mirror instead. And he's not wrong, right? A lot of this stuff is all brought on by himself, by Drew McIntyre. A lot of this stuff, can all point back to him. It's one of those deals where they say, you're pointing the finger at everybody else, but look at the fingers pointing back at you, right? All those fingers that you have curled up, they're all pointing right back at yourself. Nobody to blame but yourself. So that's pretty much in a nutshell there for Drew McIntyre. That's kind of how it ended. They separated. There was no shenanigans or nothing like that. But I do feel like it's all going to come to a head. I don't know if it's going to be a Priest McIntyre feud before Priest Punk. I feel like it's almost going to go that way. I feel like McIntyre is probably going to get cleared before Punk, because Punk had major elbow surgery and he might be a few months off, whereas McIntyre had an elbow injury. So it's one of the things it's going to heal sooner. He's still able to be on TV every week and stuff like that, cut promos. He was suited up, he was dressed up. So that tells me maybe he was doing some ring work before anybody ever came into the arena, stuff like that, because the ring's set up for hours before. So that tells me that maybe he's working out a little bit, so maybe he's getting closer to returning. So does that lead to a McIntyre Priest match before you have McIntyre Punk, and either Punk costs McIntyre the match again, or McIntyre takes that title from Priest legit, and you have a Punk McIntyre title match? And that's something I think we'd all love to see that one. Just add that extra little spice to it, a little kick to it with a title match. I think that'd be fantastic. So those are my thoughts on that. So moving on to some in-ring action here. I have the match list written down here. I watched Raw and SmackDown actually today. So we'll go through that. Io Sky versus Shayna Baszler for Queen of the Ring tournament to move on to the semifinals here. And Io Sky defeated Shayna. Absolutely amazing match. Very good match. This might have been the best match I seen Shayna Baszler have. I didn't watch Shayna Baszler in NXT. I didn't even know Shayna Baszler was in NXT until recently. So I'm not an NXT guy. I just don't have the time for it. Like I said, I watched Raw and SmackDown today. That tells you how much time I have during the week to watch this wrestling. I found some time today, watched a lot of skipping on the commercials, to get through it quicker. And but anyway, this is probably the best match I've ever seen Shayna have. It was terrific. It was a really good match. Io ends up winning this match and moving on into the semifinals. But hats off to Shayna. I've said it so many different times where I don't think she could be a champion. I thought she was good in the ring, not great, but she was bad in the mic. I still think she's bad on the mic, but I'm starting to turn a little bit different on her in-ring work. I think she's far and away better than anything what Ronda Rousey ever put out there. If you ask me, my opinion, Ronda Rousey would have benefited from doing time in NXT like Shayna did, possibly, but I guess with Ronda's name, WWE really wanted to get her out there in front of the public eye, in front of the main roster public eye, I should say, because there's a lot of people that watch NXT, but those are more of your hardcore type wrestling fans. So Io Sky does move on from Damage Control. The Empress of the Sky, fantastic. She's and you see it more and more since she lost the title. She's getting more and more opportunity, I think, to wrestle in front of in front of people without damage control interference or without any kind of shenanigans. And you see that she works her ass off, and she does a really good. She's super smooth in the ring, very innovative. Love Io Sky, absolutely love that Asian persuasion. Speaking of which, Asian persuasion, here we go. Paul Spencer commenting from X. All you people out there watching right now that are watching on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, throw your comments out there. Tap the live feed and tap the screen again, and a comment section should pop up. That's what they're telling me. Paul says, let's go, Io Sky. Finally, but credit to Shayna. How far do they take Io's rematch versus Bayley? I don't know how long before they actually have that rematch. See, I'm confused with the King and Queen of the Ring. Originally, the first round, I don't remember which wrestler it was, did mention about it being a title match. Whoever wins the King of the Ring, whoever wins the Queen of the Ring, they'll have a title match. And I haven't heard that since then. So I don't know if it's just a crown, like it used to be back in the day. You had the title of King of the Ring, and that was it. You had a crown, and you get the old cape and the staff and stuff like that, and music and stuff like that. You come out there, welcome King, blah blah, and that was it. So I still don't know when that's going to come. And so the rematch between Io and Bayley, and so if the Queen of the Ring winner doesn't get a match, a title match, we won't see the rematch between Io and Bayley, because Bayley is on SmackDown, Io's on Raw, and the only way this is going to happen is if Io's able to win a Money in the Bank, which she has before. That's how she got the title. So, but if it is the winner gets a shot at a title, I don't know if it has to be from their show, show specific, and if that's the fact, then we still won't see Io versus Bayley. So it may be a very, very long time before we see a Bayley Io Sky rematch. So that kind of puts a hamper on that. All right, so moving forward with that one, great question, Paul. Moving on forward from that one, we had Gunther and Kofi Kingston. And another really good match. This match, I don't believe that. I'm trying to think now. I don't believe that we had any interference from that moron Ludwig Kaiser. But not that I can recall anyway. So Gunther comes out, he starts getting in the ring, and I think it's actually before he got in the ring, immediately attacked by. No, he got in the ring. Immediately attacked by Kofi Kingston. Kofi just laid into him, outside the ring, inside the ring. Really did some serious damage to Gunther. Had his leg all tangled up, just like Gunther did to Xavier Woods. I think it was the week before. And Xavier Woods is out now. They showed him on crutches and stuff like that. So he's out right now with the leg injury. So we have Kofi had just brutalizing Gunther, which is a side of Kofi you really don't see. And so it actually was a little bit refreshing to see something like that from Kofi Kingston. So he's brutalizing Gunther. Finally, the bell rings after probably 2 or 3 minutes of this, and the match is underway. But of course, Gunther, he is the ring general for a reason. He's able to shake it off. He recovers from that leg injury, and there was a couple times where it did linger in the match. I think at one point there was I think it was this match. There was a backbreaker, and he showed the effects of that knee injury. There was also a couple times where Kofi was attacking the wrong leg. I did notice that. I don't know if Gunther did say something to Kofi in ring, that isn't audible to us. If he said, wrong leg, dummy. But there was a couple times where he was attacking the wrong leg, and I think there might have even been a couple times where Gunther grabbed the wrong leg, and then he switched to the other one. Like, oh, wait a second, But I mean that's something I often wondered, especially in a longer type match. When they're working on a body part early in the match and they're trying to sell it later in the match, like I wonder if they ever forget, which body part they're working on. I mean, because again, the wrestling it's a work, right? It's not a real fight or anything like that, but they're in there, they're risking life and limb. They're a lot for a lot of for any kind of argument that they are hitting each other, just not It's a what they call a working punch. They're not really lumping each other up, but they are really hitting each other, and some of that off the rope type stuff, and it can be absolutely brutal. But you can kind of see that without actually having your arm twisted off, like, oh, which one was supposed to be hurt. You can see how maybe that could happen. But anyway, Gunther does recover. Kofi had a couple close calls there, and almost pinning Gunther, but it comes down to it. Gunther does get Kofi. He does pin him. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, and Kofi comes back a loser. And Gunther, the backstage, I'm not sure who the interviewer is. She wants a word with him, and Gunther kind of shakes his head, and she ends up talking to the douchebag Ludwig Kaiser. And this part really piqued my interest. I'm a big Sheamus guy, and so the interview did bring up Sheamus to Ludwig Kaiser, because if you remember the week before, with Gunther losing or Gunther beating Sheamus is now out of the King of the Ring tournament. But Ludwig Kaiser did have a hand apart in that match. He did, I believe, slap Sheamus or punch Sheamus the one time, did distract him a couple times. And but he stood there and he really berated Sheamus. So I'm expecting a Sheamus Ludwig Kaiser match probably next Monday. In my opinion, anyway, there probably should be. I think it'd be a pretty good match. Ludwig Kaiser, as much as he's an asswipe, he is a very good wrestler. So that'll be a lot of fun to see. We didn't see Sheamus, I don't think, this week on Raw. So I do expect him maybe next week. Next week, Raw and SmackDown will be in Saudi Arabia right before the PLE, with the Premium Live event on Saturday. So yeah, Ludwig Kaiser, saying if Sheamus thinks that he's on the same level as Gunther, he's wrong. If he thinks that I cost him the match, Gunther's the ring general for a reason. Blah blah blah, and really laid into Sheamus pretty hard. So I mean, I expect Sheamus to really punish Ludwig Kaiser if they do wrestle next week, which again I think they should. I got a couple more comments here. Got Adam saying Gunther is my pick to be the king, and I think Adam, to be 100% honest with you, I think that's a lot of people's pick, and that might be the reason why they go away from him. So we'll have to wait and see. Next week we'll get Jey Uso and Gunther to see who goes into the finals there in Saudi Arabia. So and that's gonna be a hell of a match like it was last time as well. We also have commenting from YouTube, the man with 3 H's, which Triple H, right? He's kind of this viewer has commented on the show before. It's been a couple of weeks. He said, "What's up, sir? Shout out to the Raider Nation." There we go. Yeah, Raider Nation in the house. I don't know if you know this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I do a Raider show, and that was actually last night. I usually do it Fridays, 10 a.m. But I had to do it at night because I had some work stuff going on, a work function to attend, and a brewery to tour. I was at the Yuengling Brewery for a brewery tour. That's my hometown brewery here in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And I love going on the tours there. It's actually a really neat history behind Yuengling beer and the America's oldest brewery. But then we also had a work thing after that. So, but yeah, I do a Raider podcast. So check that out. If you want to, if you don't want to, it's fine. Check out some old episodes. Last night's episodes on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. So you look that up on YouTube. Type in Silver and Black Lair Raiders edition, and that will pop up. Thanks for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. He also says Derek Carr, a GOAT. He's my favorite Raider of all time. I love DC. I really do love DC. He's not my favorite Raider of all time. I'm a Howie Long guy. That's what got me into actually loving football and loving the Raiders was Howie Long. So I don't know how old you are, but maybe that's just an age gap thing. But yeah, I love DC. The Raiders are going to have Derek Carr this year. I talked Raider schedule last night, and the Raiders play New Orleans. I think it's the second or third last week of the season because the Raiders do play the NFC South this year. That'll be the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Buccaneers. But yeah, I'm a huge DC guy. I love DC. I was super bummed when McDaniels ran him out of town, and all the stuff that you heard about it afterwards. It's just and to be honest with you, I love Raider Nation, and I always love Raider Nation. But some of these fans really dog Derek Carr, and it's one of those things like there's no I don't want to say respect, they're like they're so unforgiving. The dude had a hell of a career as a Raider. Like, he broke all sorts of Raider passing records and stuff like that. I mean, granted, it is a different game now than it was back then when the Snake and stuff like that was the quarterback. But still, Derek Carr was one hell of a Raider, and he didn't get us, to the playoffs a lot. Didn't get us to the Super Bowl. Guess what? He didn't have a whole, a very talented roster around him. There were some points where he had some good players around him offensively, but then guess what? The defense sucked ass for a long, long time. And the one thing that I used to harp on DC about was he didn't run the ball. And it's still an issue in New Orleans to this day. But throwing the ball, he was fantastic. He was a great quarterback for the Raiders for many years. And I don't want to say he struggled with New Orleans this past season, but I didn't think he did as well as he could have. And there was a lot of injuries at wide receiver as well for New Orleans, and getting used to a new system. I don't know how well of a coach Dennis Allen is. We did have him here in Raider Nation, once before, and it didn't last very long. Didn't go very well. So maybe that's I don't know, but I hope DC has a good year this year. So I want to see Derek Carr do well. I don't want to see Derek Carr do well against the Raiders, but I do want to see Derek Carr do well and kind of shut a lot of critics up, because the dude gets no love. He gets absolutely no love. And the other thing was that he was a good teammate, and for all intents and purposes, seemed like a good person, a good human being, a being human. Also says 100% the fans treated him like he was Marcus Mariota. Yeah, for real. It was a lack of and again, I don't like using that saying lack of respect. That's not the right phrase for it. They didn't appreciate. There's a lack of appreciation. That's what I'm trying to say. A lack of appreciation for DC in Raiders, especially the last season or two. A lot of lack of appreciation. I appreciate DC. And it is what it is. It's a business, and people move on all the time. It doesn't mean I have to like it, right? All right, a sip of iced tea for the working man here. All right. So moving on from Gunther and Kofi and Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser, we had Chad Gable. And Chad Gable backstage with the Alpha Academy, absolutely chewing their asses out. And that's a non-sexual comment right there. That is a 100%, drill sergeant in their faces, ripping them apart. He's up in Maxine Dupree's grill, which isn't a bad place to be honest with you. But she lost her first round Queen of the Ring match on I guess it was a house show, and kind of giving her the business for that. I think that was against Shayna Baszler. It was a quick match, and so really ripping her ass for that. And I love all their faces. They're like down, sad faces on them. He goes over, he's ripping Tozawa, telling Tozawa he needs to prove himself and stop doing that stupid dance and that dance, that dance. And then also, rips into his boy Otis. Rips into Otis and tells him he needs him to be his number 2 or number 1. I can't remember the exact phrasing of it, but he needs him to be his guy, his go-to guy. He needs ruthless, tough Otis. Not worming Otis, not hip shaking Otis, not wiggling, jiggling Otis. He wants tough Otis. So originally it was supposed to be Tozawa against Sami Zayn and Otis and Bronson Reed. But Chad Gable said no. He said, Tozawa, prove yourself against Bronson Reed. And, in my mind, I said, what the hell? The size difference alone is huge. But anyway, and he said to Otis, he goes, I need you to soften up Sami Zayn. Work on Sami Zayn. And Otis is like, yes. And he tells Otis, he goes, you know what that means? And Otis is like, yes. And, and he said, what does it mean? I want you to say it. And then so Otis says the words, and I know I'm going to screw it up because I should have wrote it down because I have a poor memory. It was something, what is it? What are the words? It's, was it at any cost or by any means, or it was something like that. But you get the gist of where I'm going with that, right? So we have Tozawa versus Bronson Reed. He goes out there, and Tozawa's doing well. He's flying around. Tozawa's a hell of a wrestler, but he's not a heavyweight wrestler. That's where I said he's more of a speed, and then the speed for WWE does that Wednesday thing with speed, and I'm pretty sure Tozawa was on that. The speed champion is Ricochet, and I don't think they promote that enough on Raw. They promote speed. They've mentioned Ricochet being the speed champion, but I still haven't seen him on Raw with the speed championship belt. So I do believe there is one. I don't think it's just a name, he's the champion. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. He's doing well until he isn't. So he has Bronson Reed down, and Chad Gable's yelling, "Get on him, get on him!" No dancing, get on him. Well, there's Tozawa. He goes over and he does his best impression of the Hulk. He rips the shirt. He's screaming, and his little body's all flexing and tight and taut and stuff. And that was his downfall. He goes at Bronson Reed again. Bronson Reed turns the tables. Was it a Samoan drop, I believe? And Tozawa's in the perfect spot for the tsunami. Big Bronson Reed got to the top, and down he came quick, and that was it for poor Tozawa. I'll tell you what, if you watch wrestling, even if it's your first time or your 1 millionth time watching, and you see Bronson Reed come down on a little Tozawa from the tsunami, you have to wince. Yeah, you have to wince. I know I do every time. Every time I see it, it's tough to watch. And so Chad Gable is pissed. He is irate. He can't believe this has happened. Tozawa again distracted, pandering to the crowd, ripping his shirt, and it cost him. So he's ripping Tozawa apart. What Tozawa's dead on the ring. So now it's his boy Otis's turn, and that brings us to Eileen's comments. She goes, "How dare he be mean to my Otis? And she corrects her spelling there to Otis, not Mayo Tees. But I know what you were saying. We got it right. But anyway, so now it's Otis's turn. And I'll tell you what, I really liked what Otis did at the beginning of that match against Sami Zayn. He went at Sami Zayn, and he went at Sami Zayn almost like a heel. He had that mean face. And he has Sami in the corner. He's just clubbing the crap out of him, beating on him. He's tossing Sami around. But then it's time for Otis to dance. The crowd is getting him into it. The crowd is getting him worked up. He's looking around the crowd, and Chad Gable's trying to snap him out of it. He's screaming at him, and even Otis is looking at Chad Gable trying to snap out of it. But then he looks back to the crowd, and and Chad Gable's like, get on him. And shake his head. Okay. Well then, nope. He takes his shirt off. He throws it. Does the worm. Actually hits the move. And I think he hit the move. But then I think if I remember correctly, Chad Gable gets on the ring apron, kind of distracts Otis, and is like yelling at him about doing it. Get on him, and that gives Sami a chance to recover. Otis turns around. Here comes the Helluva Kick right to the face. And I believe that was pretty much it after that. I think that might have been the finisher. Just like that, it turned. Otis was looking good until he wasn't looking good. And he gets pinned 1, 2, 3. And, Chad Gable's in there berating him, yelling at him, screaming at him. Well, Sami goes after Chad Gable. Well, Gable gets out of there. And Sami's going up the ramp. And Chad Gable's there yelling at Otis again, and he ends up get him. Well, actually, I think this is up the ring, up the ramp outside the ring now, and it gives Otis one hell of a slap to the face. And I swear to God, Otis was gonna cry. And I'll tell you, you had to feel for the big guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, you had to feel that emotion that he was expressing on his face, which is a hell of a job by Otis. Really, just you can see the emotion in his face, and it really has me wondering what they're going to do with this Alpha Academy. We've talked about this before on past shows. Does Chad Gable ditch the Alpha Academy and bring in the Creed brothers? Once again, I'll talk about this in a little bit here, but the Creed brothers had another opportunity to become a number one contender for the tag titles, and it just hasn't happened. Do they need a Chad Gable in their corner to kind of focus them in, to hone them in, because they have the talent. They're absolutely amazing in the ring. But they're missing something. Or the other way you could see it going is you have Maxine and Tozawa leaving Alpha Academy because they're like, we're done. We can't put up with this anymore. We're getting kicked out. Maybe Chad Gable says, I can't do anything with you guys. You guys are out of the program. That's it. You guys are done. Get out of here. You guys are losers. You guys suck. But he keeps Otis. All right. And week after week, Otis, trying to be mean mugging Otis and, trying to do everything right by Chad Gable. And it's just not good enough week after week, week after week. Chad Gable, of course, does not win the Intercontinental Championship at the PLE up here on Saturday, blames Otis, all that good stuff. And moves on from there for a couple of weeks until the next Premium Live event. And Otis turns on Chad Gable finally. And, the crowd goes nuts for it. The crowd loves it. And Otis puts Chad Gable in his place. That's the other way I could see it going. So, or, they all three of them get kicked out. He brings on the Creed brothers, and then you have a Creed brothers versus the Alpha Academy, and it does not go well for the Alpha Academy. So those are a couple different ways I could see that going. Let me know your thoughts on that. Which way do you think that's going to go? Do you see Otis turning on Chad Gable? Do you see them just getting kicked out of the program, as he calls it, Alpha Academy? No longer training them, and no more, nothing. You can't do anything with those losers, and kicks them out and brings in the Creed brothers. And you have the Creed brothers stomping the hell out of the Alpha Academy. It's a couple different ways. All right, so moving on from there, we have a women's the Queen of the Ring quarterfinal match. Looking to see who's going to the semifinals. Lyra Valkyria versus Zoe Stark. Another fantastic. These women have been freaking killing it in the Queen of the Ring tournament. And Lyra Valkyria has been super impressive. I've heard a lot about it. Again, I said this bit earlier. I don't watch NXT at all, but I do hear stuff. I do read stuff. I do see clips on TikTok, the old TikTok. So I do see clips. So I am familiar with some of these names and what they can do in the ring. And Lyra Valkyria, she looks every bit as good as what they've said. And Zoe Stark, she's been quiet recently. Her and Shayna were tag teaming and stuff like that. Her and Shayna were a tag team. All right. That's what I meant to say. They were a tag team. So you'd see her with Shayna a lot. But then I feel like the last few weeks, you haven't heard a whole lot from Zoe Stark. And I thought she looked awesome in this match. I thought Zoe looked really, really well, really good. She did a hell of a job. And Lyra Valkyria comes out on top. And I love her whole look, her entrance music. My Wi-Fi looks like it's dropping a little bit. I don't know why. If I disappear, if I freeze up, it's the Wi-Fi. Just stay on here. I will be back if I do freeze up at all. So far, it hasn't dropped out. Hopefully, my voice isn't cutting in and out or sounding like a robot right now. I know a lot of times when I watch that back, when there is Wi-Fi issues, I sound like a robot and take me to your leader kind of thing. But anyway, I don't know if that's what robots say or not. I don't know what the hell do I know about robots. I don't know anything about robots. But great match. Lyra Valkyria, she ends up winning. And, she, I don't remember how she said it, but she said she goes as the crow flies, and that's to the top. I loved it. I thought that's fantastic. The feathers. I love everything about this wrestler, this female. Awesome. Hopefully she just keeps going up and up and up. The whole mystical thing going on, being Irish, the accent drives you nuts. So yeah, a lot of good things to like about Lyra Valkyria. She ends up beating Zoe Stark, and Zoe Stark, hell of a match. So hopefully they continue pushing Zoe Stark as a singles competitor. If they do bring her back with Shayna Baszler, I want to see them do some big things. I want to see them do some, win some matches, win a title, hold the title for a while. Because I think they could be a very, very good tag team. Absolutely. So you have Becky Lynch versus Dakota Kai from Damage Control, and it wasn't a bad match. Dakota Kai, good in the ring. Becky obviously is the champion; she's good in the ring. But Damage Control ends up interfering in this match, beating down Becky Lynch, and Lyra Valkyria again comes down and helps her fellow countrywoman, I guess you'd call it. I don't know, both from Ireland. Anyway, and they fight off Damage Control. They're able to get Damage Control out of there. Well, their backs are turned. They're watching Damage Control scamper up the ramp. Liv Morgan comes from behind and she attacks Becky Lynch, throws her into the ring post. She scurries out of there after Lyra turns around, and she heads her way up the ramp after that. So it's another piece added to that feud right there between Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch for the title match there at the finale for Queen of the Ring, King of the Ring there in Saudi Arabia. But also, it makes you wonder, are they setting up Lyra Valkyria kind of feud with Damage Control? So this is the second time in a row, I believe. I think the second week in a row where she's gotten into Damage Control business. And she will be facing Io Sky in the semifinals this upcoming Monday, I guess it would be only a couple days away now. So they'll be facing each other to see who goes on to the finals in Saudi Arabia at the PLE. So, does this lead to maybe a long-term type of feud with Lyra and Damage Control? Because, like I said, 2 weeks in a row, she's been in their business. And, that's a group that doesn't forget. They don't let stuff go. And we haven't seen Asuka in a little bit. Asuka is injured. So she's taking a little bit of time off, and hopefully she's back very soon. We all love Asuka here on the Atomic Drop podcast and Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. We love Asuka. So that's what we got there. And then we had a tag team number 1 contenders match. So you had Miz and R-Truth out there at ringside watching this one. You had the Judgment Day, Balor and JD versus New Catch Republic, Tyler Bate and Adam Dunn versus the Authors of Pain, who don't win at all. I think I don't ever see those guys win. They go in there, they toss people around like nothing, and all of a sudden they lose. It really drives me nuts with AOP. I thought they could be dominant, but they're dominant, but they don't win. So versus AOP, the Authors of Pain, and then also the Creed brothers. And again, every time they have one of these fatal 4-way matches for number 1 contendership or just a match, with the 4 tag teams, they have been freaking awesome. Absolutely insane. Just the nonstop action, high spots, it's just, crazy stuff that you see in these matches. Very innovative stuff. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. One of the coolest parts in this match was you had little Tyler Bate, pound for pound the strongest guy in WWE or professional wrestling, whatever they say about him. But he gets up the one dude from Authors of Pain. I don't know what their names are in Authors of Pain, but I feel like it's I don't know if it's Raza or Azra or something like that. But anyway, he gets him with a big dude, twice the size of this Tyler Bate, gets him up on the shoulders and starts helicoptering his ass. And I'll tell you what, Tyler Bate picked up a little bit of speed there. And I tell you, there was a moment where I thought he was going to take off. And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, hopefully the dude from AOP is kind of holding on to Tyler Bate, because if they get airborne, if they take off and into the rafters there of the arena, somebody could get seriously hurt. But he put him down. Tyler Bate put him down, and he was a little bit dizzy. And I think it was Finn Balor tried to get the quick pin off of it, but he was able to get out. And so moving forward from that, we had, I believe, I think it was somebody from the New Catch. I don't remember if it was Tyler Bate or Pete Dunne. They had, I think it was Finn Balor on the announce table. They were gonna do a move on the announce table. Well, out of nowhere, you have Carlito. Now, earlier in the show, we seen a backstage portion with Carlito there with the Judgment Day, kind of like weasel his way in there with looking for a little bit of help with Rey Mysterio, and the leader right now, Damian Priest, wants no part of it. He said, absolutely not. No way. You're not welcome here. Get the hell out. And he's like, hey, your boys, enlisted me for some help, and Priest's like, all right, I trust these guys, and they're looking for help. They, say, hey, you got our back, we'll get your back, kind of thing. He said, I trust them, but you're still not welcome here in the clubhouse. They're playing darts and all that, weird stuff. And so Carlito's like, hey, I get it. All right. Well, Carlito comes out, kind of proves himself a little bit, gives the old backstabber to, I feel like it was Pete Dunne, but I could be wrong. Saves Judgment Day, they're still in the match and they're still able to continue. And they end up winning. They end up winning the match. Finn Balor hits the coup de grace on it's either Pete Dunne or Tyler, right? Like again, I can't remember. It's from somebody from New Catch, and hits the coup de grace. Gets the old 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Judgment Day. They're the number one contenders for the Miz and R-Truth's Tag Team Championship, and it's going to be a good match. I really don't think I see them winning that match. As much as I love Finn Balor, I'd like to see him with the tag titles back, but I think that part of their story is going to be them losing, and maybe Damian Priest coming down on them a little bit, say, "Hey, we're the Judgment Day, and we handle our business." So that's what I see happening. All right, so moving on to the main event of the night. Another sip of iced tea for the working man here with my Hershey Park cup for the pass holders. I'm a pass holder. Delicious. All right, main event, King of the Ring match. To move on to the semifinals here, we have Jey Uso versus Ilya Dragunov. Again, another NXT guy, fresh up on the main roster here, drafted by Monday Night Raw, and has been nothing but stellar so far. Ilya Dragunov, absolutely stellar, very impressive. And I talked about last week about him overselling. I think that's part of the goodness that is Ilya Dragunov. So you have Jey Uso out there, mid-card Jey Uso in the main event of Monday Night Raw. And you got the whole Fireflies thing happening there, which is actually pretty cool. Really neat. They go back and forth. Great fast-paced wrestling. There were some points, some moves that were hit that I thought they could have sold a little bit better. Kind of like stay down for a couple seconds, but they bounced back up. Really wouldn't sell it much. But besides that, it's a solid match, great match. Almost pay-per-view PLE worthy type match, and Jey Uso comes out on top. Is able to beat Ilya Dragunov as he was going for. I think he was going for his H-bomb maybe, or he was going for. I'm not sure which move it was, but Jey Uso was able to get him with the spear. Was able to drag him over to the corner, hit him with the Uso splash, and get that 1, 2, 3. Then you have Gunther come down and get face to face with Jey Uso. They will face off Monday night to see who goes to the finals in Saudi Arabia. So that should be a lot of fun. Another Gunther Jey Uso match. They had a 5-star match a few months ago for the IC title, and I'm sure this is going to be more of the same. And it'd probably be main event again. Ilya Dragunov, great showing there. Can't say anything bad about the guy. Absolutely can't. I love his music. I really do. The fast pace. He's out there conducting, which I like it, but it's kind of weird. Watch him do it the whole way down. I'm thinking to myself, does his arms get tired? Does his shoulders get tired? He has, I don't know. He's just constantly like this the whole way down. Super fast. It's like I'm not even sure if that's how you conduct this, but I'm not. Maybe it is. Maybe he was a conductor. During his summers in college or something. If he went to college, I don't know what they do where he's from. I don't know if he's from Russia or if that's just a character that he's playing. I thought I read somewhere that he was from Germany, but he's like Russian. I'll tell you, for you history buffs out there, it's not a subject I want to touch. Germany and Russia, World War II, kind of thing. But anyway, but Dragunov's looked awesome. I can't wait to see more of him. I can't wait till they kind of get more into the deep dive. I think they call him the Mad Dragon and stuff like that. I really want to see him kind of dig into this guy and really bring more of him out. More backstory or more depth to his character. It's going to be a lot of fun. Dragunov is awesome. All right, so that was our show Monday Night Raw. So we'll move on to SmackDown. For Monday Night Raw overall, I'll tell you that's a solid show. I give it a B easily. Good stuff. So we're going to switch on over to SmackDown. Before I do, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here real quick. For those watching right now, check us out on X at OOT Box Sports. For Out of the Box Sports, you can watch us live right there. Or at Atomic Drop OOTBE. You can watch us live there. Watch it right now. Throw your comments out there. Again, if you're watching from X or Twitter, you can comment, tap on the live feed video, and tap on it again, and a comment section is supposed to pop up. Again, I say this every week. I can't get it to work, but that's not saying much at all. I've had a couple comments from X tonight, so it works. I'm just not. I can't figure it out how it works. Or if you're watching from YouTube, check us out of the Box Sports Entertainment at OOT Box Sports on YouTube and also on Facebook. You can watch live at both places. Please like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on X especially. And you'll give us a like and all that good stuff. Throw those comments out there. Comments are very much appreciated. All right, so moving on to the SmackDown from this past Friday night. Let me change the color to make it appropriate. And we get the old blue brand now. There we go, blue. We've gone blue. All right. If you ever seen the movie UHF, one of my favorite parts, I don't know why, is when Stanley, if you've never seen it, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But Stanley, who was played by Michael Richards, and if you don't know who Michael Richards is, he was Kramer from Seinfeld. Stanley, the janitor, he was kidnapped by the opposing network to try to stall out the other network from raising money to save their broadcast company from being brought out by the other bigger broadcast company. So anyway, he's playing some sort of guessing game. It's like 20 questions kind of thing. Trying to guess what he's thinking of, and I can't remember how it leads to it, but he goes, I'm thinking of something blue. And he's like, something blue. And for some reason, it cracks me up every single time. I love Weird Al Yankovic, so I love that movie. And I'll leave it at that. Back to wrestling. So we move on to SmackDown. We had Bianca Belair versus Tiffany Stratton. It was Tiffy time. And this a long ongoing feud right now here on the Atomic Drop podcast, out of the Box Sports Entertainment. If this is the first time you've ever watched this show, you don't know, but I'm gonna drop some knowledge here on you. We've gone back and forth on this. I know I'm right, and those who oppose this point or this it's not an opinion, it's fact. Those who oppose this fact, they are wrong. Bianca Belair's braid is real. I don't care what you say. There's no way you can convince me after watching that match that hair is fake, that it's attached with staples or glue or whatever the hell they do to attach extensions. There ain't no freaking way. Absolutely zero possibility that is fake. No, I'm not going to buy it. You cannot convince me until I actually physically watch that woman peel that from her skull or put it on. I'm not going to buy it. I will not believe it. That is real, 150% real. I know Eileen. She says it's fake because she's a lady, and she's she says it's extensions. That I just can't be. That doesn't make sense. And scientifically, it doesn't make sense. And I'm no scientist. So, but all right, back to the show. Good match between Tiffany Stratton and Bianca Belair. I think it could have been better, to be honest with you. Both of them are big time. Of course, Bianca. We all know Bianca. Right now, she's one half of the tag team champions there on SmackDown. She's also been a world champion. I think multi-time, but I'm not sure. Definitely at least once. So Tiffany Stratton, up and comer, just off NXT recently. Tiffy time, the world's prettiest. What the hell they call the world's prettiest? What the hell is that called? It's not a. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. She does the little flipsy dipsy there off the top of the rope. The world's prettiest flipsy dipsy. That's what I'm going to call it. I can't think of the technical term for it right now because my brain is still thinking about Bianca Belair's hair being 100% real. So they had a good match. Not great. I'd like to see them, wrestle again. I think it could be much, much better. And Bianca comes out on top. Tiffany did a hell of a job, really working on that knee of Bianca. Bianca did a supreme job of selling it. A supreme job of selling that knee injury, and much better than what I thought that the Gunther did. So I think Bianca really sold that knee injury much better, and we'll see how it holds up moving forward. So she wins this match. She moves on to this, I guess, the semifinals. It would be for the Queen of the Ring. We also had Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill. So a lot of wrestling fans were hoping we get to see the Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair semifinal, SmackDown final match to see who goes to the finals of Queen of the Ring, but we're not going to get that now. Nia Jax, Jade match wasn't long. A couple interesting things happened there. The one part I really loved was Nia Jax. Jade was over talking to her daughter, trying to tell her, hey, it's going to be okay. Daughter looked a little bit worried. Nia went over. She wasn't having any of it. She grabbed Jade Cargill, threw her off to the side. I think she even kicked her once and came back and said, your mom sucks. And the little girl, give her credit. She goes, you suck. So I thought that was fantastic. I even got a little giggle out of her there. So I'm willing to bet that she's met Nia before and has talked to Nia and understands everything that's going on. It was a really neat spot. You don't see that too often. So fast forward in the match, they're still outside the ring, still going at it. And Nia gets the chair and she goes to hit Jade with it over there. So if she does do this, that's a DQ and Jade moves on. So she goes to hit her with it, and Jade is supposed to grab her hands to stop it, overpower, take the chair from her. Well, they miss. Jade is able to grab one hand, but misses the other hand, so it kind of comes down on her head anyway. Doesn't really hit her, but technically it makes contact. So technically Nia Jax should have been disqualified, right? But that didn't go that way. The referee knew what was supposed to happen, didn't happen. So, Jade eventually does get the other hand, overpowers her, and she turns around and she hits Nia with the chair. So Jade, she gets disqualified. So now Nia Jax is moving on in Queen of the Ring, and Jade Cargill was pissed, and she was hot. She was very angry. There was they play up the whole storm thing with Jade Cargill and stuff like that. Oh, there was a storm. She was really angry. She went at Nia a bunch of times. They had a whole host of people down there breaking it up. She went at Nia a bunch of times, and that ain't over yet. That is not over yet. That's going to be a little bit of a feud there, I think. Adam says Gunther should win. Dragon Guy, future star. So yeah, he's saying Gunther should win the King of the Ring tournament altogether, and Ilya Dragunov will be a star. I agree. I'm not sure about the Gunther winning part yet, but and it's not Tiffy time. You're right. It was not. It was not Tiffy time. And oldest trick. The oldest trick, yeah, getting the other person to hit you with the chair to get them disqualified so you move on. Absolutely oldest trick. So that's what we got there out of Nia and Jade Cargill. I see that progressing. We're going to have Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair in the SmackDown semifinal match to see who moves on to the finals. And to be 100% honest with you, I really think that it's going to be Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax is going to upset Bianca, and I have a feeling it's going to have something to do with Jade Cargill, and that's going to start the whole crack, in between Bianca and Jade, where we see maybe at SummerSlam a Bianca and Jade Cargill match. But we'll have to wait and see. That might be too soon. And so the women's semifinals are all set. SmackDown, like I said, you have Nia and Bianca. See who goes to the final. And on Raw, it is Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria to see who goes on to the final from Raw. So those two winners, if I have to put out a prediction, I think it's going to be Nia Jax versus I feel like it's Nia Jax versus Io Sky. That's what I think is going to happen. But I don't know. That's heel versus heel, or are they trying to turn Io Sky? I don't know. I'm not really sure. So as much as I want to see Lyra Valkyria versus Bianca Belair, I think that'd be amazing. I feel like Nia Jax is going to beat Bianca next week, and it's a really big toss up between Io and Lyra, which is, again, that's going to be an awesome match. That's going to be an amazing match. If there's one match next week on Monday Night Raw that's a can't miss match, I'm gonna bet you it's gonna be that match right there. Uso and Gunther's gonna be an awesome match as well, but I feel like Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky they're gonna rip the house down. I have no doubt. All right. Moving on from there, another King of the Ring match. We had Tama Tonga versus L.A. Knight. Yeah. So we had that to move on to the semifinal there of SmackDown. So before LA Knight comes out, he's giving a backstage interview where you have Carmelo Hayes come over, kind of interrupt him, kind of talking crap, and LA Knight's talking back. So there's a nice back and forth segment. Kind of show you the chops that Carmelo Hayes has on the mic, and of course we all know LA Knight can talk, and so they go back and forth, maybe setting something up in the future there. Because even after this match, you've seen Carmelo Hayes and LA Knight kind of cross paths, and words were exchanged and stuff like that. So I have a feeling they're setting something up there. Would probably actually for Friday Night SmackDown, to be 100% honest with you, I expect fully. Well, let me get through these matches first, then I'll tell you what I expect fully. So Tama Tonga ends up beating LA Knight. Really good match. So there wasn't technically interference by the Bloodline, but LA Knight got distracted by the Bloodline. Now that's more on LA Knight than it is the Bloodline. He does a suicide dive to the outside and hits fucking can't think of it. Tonga Loa. Criminy. Can't remember nothing. He does a suicide dive as Tama Tonga's outside. He does a suicide dive and on Tonga Loa, because I think Tonga Loa is helping Tama Tonga up. There are a whole lot of Tongas going on right here. Tonga, Tonga, Tonga. Hey. But anyway, and so that causes the distraction. He says something to Solo, and Solo's there, mean mugging him. He ends up getting back in the ring, and that's it. LA Knight's done. Tama Tonga is able to finish him off, pretty much right after that. And LA Knight cost himself the match, if you ask me. That's on LA Knight. So and I was fully expecting Solo Sikoa to come in there and give LA Knight the spike, but he didn't. They left him lay. They got out of there, and that was it. And so LA Knight, as he's in the back, is crossing paths with Carmelo Hayes, as Carmelo Hayes is going out for his match. And the next King of the Ring match is who moves on against Randy Orton, which is your main event of the night on SmackDown. They have words back and forth. So, that this is something that, we could see happening. So before I get to the main event, we had a tag team match as well. We had DIY versus the Legado del Fantasma. I don't know if I feel like I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think DIY is facing Waller in theory. The douchebags from Down Under, they're not A-Train Down Under. The douchebags from Down Under. I think they're facing each other at the PLE on Saturday, but I could be wrong. I feel like that's already set up because they're at ringside watching this match. So you had DIY defeat Legado del Fantasma. DIY looked great. Legado del Fantasma, Angel and Barto, they look good. They did look good. I like those guys. I don't like those idiots in LWO. I can't. They're so nothing to me that I don't even remember their names. Like half the things I talk about here, I always forget names. But anyway, I really like Legado del Fantasma. I really do. I want to see them in the mix more often. They're great in the ring. A lot of high flying stuff. A lot of fast paced wrestling there. It's good stuff. But DIY looked great. Johnny Wrestling and Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, they looked awesome. They really did. And hopefully they're able to smack the douchebags from Down Under, spank their asses on Saturday and get those titles off them so we don't have to see them on TV all that often. So moving on to the main event, you had Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes, and man, Carmelo Hayes really took Randy Orton to the deep end. Because Randy, they brought it up on the show. Randy's is probably the biggest he's ever been. Muscle wise, dude is jacked. Ever since he came back, he's cut, he's jacked. He put on muscle, and sometimes when you put on muscle, you get tired quick. And Randy, he got taken to the deep end, and so here's the only gripe. It was a really good match, not great, but it was a really good match. My gripe with it is we never get just the RKO anymore. It always has to be the RKO out of nowhere, and I understand the excitement of it. Oh, it's an RKO out of nowhere, or it's really neat looking off of another move. I get that. I get the excitement for it. But if you do it week in and week out, it loses some of that excitement. Doesn't it? Am I wrong for thinking this way? But I think it loses some excitement. So Randy Orton goes for the RKO. Carmelo blocks it, pushes him away, comes off the ropes, is going for not sure which move it is that he was going for. As a springboard. I think it was a springboard off the middle rope, I think. And as he's coming back, Randy catches him midair and hits the RKO out of nowhere. And the place is going nuts. He gets the 1, 2, 3. Well, then you have the bloodline come out, because now you have Tama Tonga versus Orton in your semifinal match to see who goes to the finals in Saudi Arabia. And so they're the stare down, and as Randy Orton's talking, I don't remember everything that he said, but one of the things he did say is that he was going to stick his foot up Tama Tonga's ass and go from there. So that's going to be a very intense match. Randy really wants him a piece of the bloodline, and Tama Tonga especially, for taking out KO a few weeks back. So I wouldn't be too shocked if we don't see KO. Maybe out there to help with the keeping the bloodline at bay. So that was our show. So now with the men's side here, the semifinal match on SmackDown, we have Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton, and on the Raw side of it, we have Gunther versus Jey Uso. So I think Jey Uso wins this match, and I don't want to say it, but I feel like Tama Tonga is going to win that match, and it's not going to be Tama Tonga wins the match and his hands being raised. But I think Tama Tonga wins the match, but he still gets his ass whooped. I still feel like Randy Orton's going to come out on top without winning the match. If you get where I'm going with it. So I don't see Randy Orton getting beat down. I see Randy Orton doing the beat down, but something wonky happens. He ends up losing that match, and you have the former Bloodline member against current Bloodline member, and that's a whole storyline right there. And I think that's going to be fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Orton versus Gunther either. I think that'd be a lot of fun to watch as well. But I feel like it's going to be Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga, and this is where the whole bloodline, the old bloodline, new bloodline storyline starts this Saturday in Saudi Arabia. That's my thoughts. That's my predictions on it. Let me know what you think. I will be on here for a couple more minutes yet before I jut out. Right now, we're sitting with 48 live viewers. Most of those viewers from X. Let's see if all of them are from X. No, we have a couple. We have a couple live from YouTube as well. But if you're watching from X, throw your comments out if you can figure it out. Maybe even throw me a pointer or two out how to do it. But yeah, so that's those are my predictions for Monday. My Monday Night Raw's semifinal match and SmackDown semifinal match. And I also think we're going to see LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown, and I also believe we'll see Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser on Monday Night Raw. For a couple predictions right there. All right. So I have a couple sponsor reads I want to do here real quick before I jump out of here. So there's still time to throw your comments in if you'd like to. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, and X. All right. We got Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His offices in New Jersey are located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And his offices are located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or on 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the offices are located on 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. Don't forget, you can use that number. That's very memorable. 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Then head on over to monkeycoldcoffee.com for all your gourmet coffee needs. They have bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum. They have a Sumatran blend medium roast coffee, as well as an organic blend coffee called Perula, Florida, and their newest blend, Golden Honey Agave. They also sell barrel-aged honey at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Be sure to check out that swag shop. They got t-shirts, coffee mugs, tumbler cups, cold brew pitchers for all you iced coffee lovers and cold brew coffee lovers, K-cup adapters, and don't forget some of that sweet, sweet paradise rum cake. All that and much, much more at monkeycoldcoffee.com, and use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off your order. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And like I said before, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Like, follow, subscribe. We're also put out some content there on the TikTok and Instagram. So we're everywhere. If you feel like you want to do a podcast, any sport, anything you want to talk about, any topic, reach out to us. Reach out to us and we'll talk about it and we'll figure something out. And also, don't forget, starting May 27th, the first episode of the new show, Inside the Octagon with UFC Talk. That'll be 8:30 on May 27th and every Monday at 8:30 here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. So be sure to check that out, all you mixed martial arts fans, combat sports fans. Be sure to check that out. Good stuff there. I will be live. Let me pull this off of here. I will be live Wednesday morning. Actually, I scratched that. I'll be live Wednesday with the Batcave. I'm not sure what time yet. My daughter has her Olympics or whatever it is for school. Like they try out for Olympic events, throughout the school year, and some girls make it. Well, my daughter, she made it this year for some running type stuff. So, and she's not much of a runner, so it's going to be interesting. So I'll be there, but I'm not sure what time it is yet. If it's in the afternoon, I'll be on with the Batcave in the morning, my normal time. But if it's in the morning, I might have to push the Batcave back to a little bit later at night. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But I will be on with the Batcave. I will be, because I have a lot to talk about there with the Mets. Also, next Thursday, 10 a.m., be sure to check that out. I'll be talking Silver and Black Lair, LA Kings edition. And then Friday, I believe 10 a.m. Again, we're coming to the end of the school year. I think my daughter has her elementary school graduation. I think that might be Friday, but I'm not sure what time yet. So Friday, just not sure yet what time. I will be live with the Silver and Black Lair Las Vegas Raiders edition, and then next Saturday night, the Atomic Drop podcast. I will not be on next Saturday night. I plan on going to the next American Excellence Wrestling event, indie wrestling here in Orangeburg, Pennsylvania. I really had a fun time the last time I was there. I think back in early April or late March. I think it was late March I was there. Great show they put on, so I'm going to go ahead and check them out again, AXW. I'll check them out again this upcoming Saturday, next Saturday. So I don't believe I will be on. So stay tuned. We'll figure it out. Hopefully somebody gets on. Maybe we'll even do it a Friday night. Do like a preview for the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring finals, and the rest of that PLE that's going to be on next Saturday. So we'll figure it out. So stay tuned. We'll put a video, promo video out, so you know what time it's going to be on, and we'll also promote it as well. Got a comment here before I head out. Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. Awesome show. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. I am awesome, as the Miz would say, right? Yeah. All right. So that's all I have for today. Thank you, everybody, for checking the show out. Thank you for those that commented. I appreciate it very much. But like I said before, please like, follow, subscribe. We appreciate it tremendously. It really helps us out a lot, kind of see where our viewers are coming from so we can focus on that more and really promote the the network through that. We do a lot of great things here, a lot of great shows. Cowboy show, Reds Commander show. I almost said it. A Major League Baseball show. Pretty soon a UFC show. A Giants show, like I said, Raiders, LA Kings. We have Notre Dame show coming up here very soon. A college football show coming up very soon again. Starting back up here as college football season's coming. So a whole something for everybody. And like I said before, if there's something, and also Philly sports talk with the Sully squad. So we can't forget about that. Talking all Philly sports. So if there's something that you want to hear, hop on. You'll try it out. I was super nervous when I started doing this. When I started actually doing it, it's called the Las Vegas Sports Team. Myself and Rob Hefner. My first episode I actually did with Paul Spencer. I was super nervous, but after you do a couple episodes, it's like this. You screw up, who cares? It's it's no big deal. Just move on to the next, right? Even the professionals screw up all the. But we watch the news. People screw up all the time. So if you're ever interested in doing a show, reach out to us. We'll talk about what you want to do, and we'll see if it's feasible or not, and we'll get you on. All right, thank you, everybody, and until next time, keep looking to those stars. See you later.